Todd Barclay.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I rise in opposition to this bill for two reasons. Firstly, because it will achieve absolutely nothing. It is absolute jiggery-pokery, and if this is all that the Labor Party can suggest in terms of reformation of the education sector, then we know we're on the right track, Mr Speaker. And secondly, because this member's bill rehashes a Labor Party supplementary order paper from 2014 in that education amendment bill, which was before the House. We opposed it then, and we're opposing it again now, Mr Speaker. The ironic thing is that the Labor Party puts forward a private member's bill, which is actually redundant, because what's happened since Ruth Dyson put the bill in the biscuit tin, she had the opportunity to pull it out, save herself some embarrassment. She decided not to, let it sit in there and linger, collect crumbs, and then what she did was, when she saw that the Professional Code of Ethics was released, she didn't see, oh, right, maybe I'm on the wrong track, maybe the profession's actually right behind this, they're right behind this, and they support the approach that the government's taking. So she keeps it in there, and they once again embarrass themselves, Mr Speaker. I think the name proposed by Ms Dyson was previously used in 1996 by an independent voluntary teacher-run professional body. The ironic thing about that, Mr Speaker, is the organisation folded after 2 years due to lack of support by the teachers themselves. Why would the Labor Party, who proclaim to be the supporters of the teaching body, put forward something that's not even supported by the teachers' bodies themselves, Mr Speaker? I think the funny thing about this is that the Labor Party, who used to be the party for the teachers, the party for education, that's long gone, Mr Speaker, under Hekia Parada's superb leadership in the education sector, bringing together a ministerial cross-sector forum, reforming the Education Act, conducting a fundamental review of education funding, initiating in her first couple of weeks as Education Minister the ministerial inquiry into sex offenders in schools, which was one of the toughest things that this government's done in its first couple of weeks in its second term of government, to take on quite a controversial issue and deliver a result which ultimately recommended by former Ombudsman Mel Smith, former CEO of the Education Review Office and former CEO of Ministry of Women's Affairs, Dr Judith Aiken, that the first thing that the government should do is implement a code of conduct. Well, Mr Speaker, we've done that. That's what this bill sets out to achieve. This is what this bill sets out to try and cross right through, Mr Speaker, and it has no fundamental value add to what this government's done over the last 6 years. Ruth Dyson clearly has not paid any attention to what her sector's requests are in this space, clearly hasn't paid any attention whatsoever to what's happened in the education sector under the leadership of the Honourable Hekia Parada. Adds no substance, is absolute jiggery-pokery. Labor knew that this bill became completely redundant as soon as the draft Code of Conduct was released, but refused to withdraw it, wasting Parliament's time and wasting taxpayers' dollars. Ironic, given we're doing a funding review of the education sector at the moment, Mr Speaker, which aspires to have a clearer line of sight for value of taxpayers' dollars into education. They oppose that, they oppose this, they oppose what we've done in the Code of Conduct, Code of Ethics. And what it does actually, Mr Speaker, quite apart from the politics and setting aside that this is a national government initiative, what it does is that it's a complete and utter insult to very highly respected people in the sector. Mel Smith, former Ombudsman, recommended this as part of his review of the ministerial inquiry into sex offenders in schools. Dr Judith Aiken, former CEO of the Education Review Office. Dr Graham Stewart, who's the current CEO of the Education Review, former CEO of the Education Review Office, current CEO of the Education Council. They're all recommending these steps that the government's taking. What Ruth Dyson fails to understand is that this isn't about politics. This is about, fundamentally, experts in the sector recommending some changes that will help enhance the sector, help protect the teaching profession and vulnerable children. But what she does is tries to take a pot shot at the government and a pot shot at the Minister of Education. Utter disgrace, utter waste of taxpayers' dollars, Mr Speaker. That's why I oppose this bill.
Oh, very well done. Catherine Delahunty.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Kia ora koutou katoa, ko tēnei pō.